Hi friends, host Eric here. I was talking with famous people. I've been watching Jordan Peterson videos today and last couple of days. I want to talk about his three possible paths that he mentions. I don't know if he covers this a great deal in his video archive. I mean, which is to say, I guess I'm not sure people make a lot of little clips of him talking about this, but I've seen the most cogent idea in the video I just watched, which is you really only have three paths, right? A mythological path, a chaotic path, or an ideological path. And of the three, the first is obviously the best choice. What does he mean by that, the mythological path? Well, what he means is the slabs. Either you embrace some relationship with the slabs, or you have two other choices. A non-framed, chaotic, sort of hedonistic, indulgent, or potentially nihilistic even, although that would sort of fall under the frame of ideology, I suppose. You take an approach to life in which you understand yourself as purposed in pursuing a purpose, that you are destined to accomplish certain things. Whether you attain that destiny or not is unclear, but the requirement of you to pursue that destiny in order to be whole is unavoidable. I've argued in the past that we have to be purposed because everything we understand, everything we say, everything we speak is based in purpose. That we can't say any words at all, but to concurrently express an illocutionary purpose, that is, say, a purpose entirely internal to ourselves, not expressed outwardly, concurrently to convey certain meanings about purpose based on the manner in which we speak. So whether or not I'm using first person, second person, third person, that's going to tell you a lot of purpose. So if I'm saying you have two choices in this life beyond the mythological path, you can choose the chaotic path or the ideological path. And some people do. Note the absence of the first person. The second person and the third person there at the end make this not about me. And that's critically important on a purpose level, because when an individual like myself is talking to people like you, people who are watching videos presumably to get some sort of meaningful ideation, some sort of engagement with a speaker who's telling them things that are going to impact their own understandings of their own lives in meaningful ways, well, it makes a lot more sense on a purpose level if I'm here purposely expressing things to you that are intended to provide you useful information, rather than, say, intended to show how smart I am, intended to get views, intended to whatever. Purpose underlies every bit of language we use, and as Jordan Peterson said in this past video that I watched, we are all both creatures of spirit and matter, or in other words, we're both metaphysical and physical beings concurrently. And it's interesting to me that I've heard so many people tell me in the past that this guy's saying a lot of the same things I'm saying, and I didn't really feel particularly interested in watching him because I had still a lot to learn about my own mythological path. One of the critical things that I've been able to improve on over the course of my life is listening. And another critical thing I've been able to improve on over the course of my life is objective self-assessment. In the latter, I objectively self-assess myself here to be hating, jealous, resentful. And so those things I have to deal with. I mean, what's the best thing to do? Watch more Jordan Peterson videos. Why? Obviously it's a thing for me or something. So I'm going to need to take every bit of learning I can from the man and do with it as best I can for my own purposes. That's the least I owe myself. It's not even about the social implications of it, although those are there as well. But it's about giving my future self some credit. Future self would rather be endowed with information that I can attain from this man. Present self doesn't like that I'm watching somebody say the same basic idea set that I'm saying more effectively than I'm saying it. I really don't like that. But that's okay that I don't like that. It's something the Slabs have presented me for a reason. I'm on a mythological path. I have a destiny. And part of it for me is overcoming ego stuff like that. The bad kind of ego. Second path, chaos. That was the path I had prior to quitting drinking. Quitting drinking for me marked a moment of rebirth, a moment of transformation. And that transformational moment has launched me into a future in which I am engaged in a process of optimization. That means assessing what I formerly believed, understanding my relationship to ideas in that capacity, assessing what I believe now, assessing my understanding of the nature of belief, assessing my own identity build, and the progress therein. Note, though, that during this process of post-chaotic mythological build, I'm still expressing necessarily my modality of attention, or my modality of being. When talking to you naturally in this fashion, I'm going to tell a lot of stories that are related to me personally. And I'm going to explain things in ways that link to my own personal experience. In other words, I'm going to be a lot less NI than Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson, I think correctly, largely says that by the time people are over 30, it's really difficult to compare them between each other because the amount of particularist experience tends to outweigh commonalities in the general. So, I mean, it's an argument against cognitive functions, for example. What I find, though, is no matter how much we may argue for or against cognitive functions, how much we may argue for or against type, the fact that he approaches these matters with a great deal more NI than I do, and TE as well, seems indisputable to me. And it's beneficial, obviously, for him to do so because people tend to like that. There's a difference, though, between people, okay? And one thing that I'll say is I'm on the side of those who are stuck in chaos. A lot of us get stuck in chaos for a long ass time. And I'm all with him about let's knock the chaos, let's do the hard things, you know? Let's fucking do the hard things. But I'm doing them too, you know? It's like shit's hard for me. I'm NESI. He's TENI. NITE. I don't know. You might say, well, you just gotta man up, you know? That's the whole point. Stop making excuses. I get it. Well, see, that's why it's bad about type, Eric. It just sort of excuses you from being lazy and blah, blah, blah. No, it just sort of explains why different people are different. And you know, I'm never going to be Jordan Peterson. I'm never going to be that guy. I'm just not that guy. He's much more orderly than I am. As you can see. Look, I got a backdrop here, sort of. I got some half-ass lighting here, sort of. I'm dressed up. Hey. I'm pulling bong rips while making the video, for Christ's sakes. How am I ever going to be Jordan Peterson? Third life path. Ideology. Fuck ideology. Fuck ideology. You've got to let go and rebirth and let go and rebirth. like he says, a mythological path is one that's not attached to a rigid frame that controls you. If you have a rigid intellectual frame, and everything's got to be subject to that, you're going to not be a whole person. You're not going to realize your identity at all, because you're going to be consistently trying to make supreme something of human construction that is something specific of human construction, rather than human construction as an ideational process. I just say this. One can affirm certain kind of statements wholeheartedly without being subject to ideological burdens. It's not true that you can't correctly argue to the right conclusion. You can. There's no reason why you can't affirm true things that are both true and good. And the fact that there's a certain amount of conditionality in that affirmation doesn't make it any less a belief. So, this is my confession. This is my confessional. This video. This is my coming to terms with shit. There's a lot of things I do fucking brilliant. A lot of things. Beat Jordan Peterson is not one of them. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.